So there's a lot going on now. There's a lot of expansion happening and occurring, and a lot that's been under development. This is a short video. It's just basically focused directly on these Ohio missing person cases that really meant a lot to some of my viewers and so on. And I apologize again that it has taken a while for everything to truly get up and running. But we had to really pace ourselves. We had to be sure, first, of course, that the dollar was crashing, and it officially crashed, and it has essentially. And we also had to be positive we had the right people involved in our team. Unlike other channels, our team is extremely, extremely small. So the people that got involved had to be very trustworthy. And finally, that's occurring now. So things are really growing up. And they're growing outward. So this is the case of Dan, I believe his name is Dan Matelko. It's a very important case. So please go ahead and spread the word. This is very, very recent. In fact, within the last couple of weeks, Dan was found in the Ohio River, essentially. So I appreciate all assistance you can get and support you can get for his family. I'll have a link directly describing their situation as well in the area. Thank you. Missing person case in Ohio. This will be a short update and short video, actually, before an official update gets out there on Daniel Robinson of Arizona. A search is underway for a missing person in the Ohio River near Hannibal. Rescue crews from several entities were searching the Ohio River in Monroe County on Sunday night for a person who had gone missing in the river earlier Sunday. New Martinsville Police Chief Tim Cecil stated that Marshall County and Tyler County, as well as the Coast Guard, were among the groups helping with the search and the revised search, which was happening near the new Martinsville Bridge that morning. The search began in Monroe County as the missing person went in the river on the Ohio east side. Boats were in the water Sunday night, continuing the search, Cecil stated. Efforts to contact Monroe County Sheriff Charles Black and other emergency personnel in the county went unsuccessful. The Ohio State Highway Patrol, however, confirmed a trooper was at the scene and had closed the area until further notice. So there is a victim here in the Ohio River. That's going to be covered here for a little small section. Thank you. Here we go. A big deal, an important update on the case.
The Coshocton County Sheriff's Office is reporting the discovery of a body in the Tuscarawas River. Around noon today, emergency personnel responded to the scene of the river located in Lafayette Township and recovered the body of a man. Authorities say he's believed to be the man who was reported missing from Licking County on March 23rd. The incident remains under investigation by the Coshocton County Sheriff's Office and the Coshocton County Coroner.
So authorities said the search party was conducting a search for the male subject who went missing from Licking County on March 23rd. They recovered the body of the victim, believed to be the missing Licking County man. The incident remains under investigation by the Coshocton County Sheriff's Office and Coshocton County Coroner. My goodness. Look at that. My word, what has been going on? So I'm still attempting to make certain to identify the exact name of this victim because I need that in the main description, and it will be in there. Thank you. Daniel Matelko was the name of the victim. The man originally from Newark who jumped in the Ohio River. It says the remains of Dan Matelko were found in January in an attempt to save a woman. What's interesting about this is it's not explained yet how Dan Matelko actually got in the water, but that's this other interesting man named Adam Thomas essentially was in the area the direct exact area where Dan Matelko disappeared. So he's been related to this, since the beginning. And there is something interesting that's been going on here. It says he jumped into the river at around noon, January 13th, in Louisville, to follow a victim he says was drowning. Due to the swift current and river levels and significant amount of debris, our rescue efforts were limited to the surface level of the water. So it doesn't explain how he actually got over there. But this again kind of connects it back to the fact that who I was talking about before is the original person who's been involved in this. Flagner's. Someone put Metelko in the river. He didn't just, fall in. And so Adam Thomas is for some reason related to this. He's been related to it ever since that incident happened. He jumped into the river at noon on January 13th to save a victim. And that's very admirable. But it doesn't explain why some of the other events happened around this. So this has been very interesting. And we need to get this story out there, far and wide. So I appreciate you liking. Make sure to share the video. Comment, when you are able to. But get this story out there far and wide. More people need to know that there are a lot of missing persons right now, especially in Ohio. Thank you. This is just a very interesting but short update with that Ohio missing person case in the Ohio River. One of the suspects who may have killed the man from Newark is believed to be this gentleman named Brandon, who also abducted a young girl and someone else more than 10 years ago in the area of Cleveland, it says. Brandon abducted Tiffany as she was walking alone and took her to a wooded area outside the school. He said he attempted to commit SA and all the rest, but she rejected everything, and then he shot her in the head as as a byproduct, accidentally. Flagner stated that he also chopped up Tiffany, and apparently they also ate something just absolutely horrible. I'm not even going to go into that. He admitted that he disposed of the rest of her remains in various parts of Ohio State. Authorities were initially doubtful of the admission. He made 30 confessions to the crime, and each one contradicted the next confession. Frank Papiche believed Flagner was not involved in his daughter's abduction. He felt that Brandon was simply seeking publicity at the time. And he discounted the letters that he sent to the television station and the FBI. This was not the first time Flagner became involved in the Papiche case. A few days after Tiffany was reported missing, Brandon showed up at the Papiche family home and offered to sell T-shirts and a photograph directly on top. He also helped and offered to assist in the search. But Frank said he felt Flagner was keeping the money for himself and only wanted to help so he could know what was going on. He turned out to be correct. After Tiffany was abducted, Brandon asked his wife and brother to destroy a metal box that was in the trunk of his car. According to them, the box contained many articles of children's clothing and almost 100 plus objects dealing with children or, infants in the actual box. It is unknown if these items had any connection to Tiffany or if the box was ever located. In November of 1980, Brandon told his brother that Frank hired him to find Tiffany's killer and that he thought Frank himself did the crime. Of course, that turned out to be incorrect. Flagner grew up in Elira, is that what it said? Yeah, Elira, Ohio, which was relatively close to Maple Heights. In 1978, he was arrested for burglary and was sentenced to 2 to 5 prison terms. However, he was paroled after spending 16 months behind bars and was released from prison only 3 months prior to Tiffany's alleged disappearance for no reason. In June of 1984, a Cuyahoga County grand jury returned indictments against Flagner for Tiffany's abduction and then homicide. This occurred after the county prosecutor's office investigated other cases that Flagner was involved in and found similarities between those cases and how Tiffany vanished that week. He was booked into Cuyahoga County Jail in August of 1984 and was arraigned on charges of kidnapping, strangulation, and murder in relation to Tiffany's disappearance. Then he was indicted again based on confessions that he made to killing the girl. In September, Brandon actually recanted his confessions to murdering Tiffany. One of his court-appointed attorneys, Paul Cassidy, stated that Brandon denied any connection to her presumed homicide. But his mental health and state were subject to debate as to whether he was competent enough for trial. And in April of 1985, Cuyahoga County Common Pleas Judge Norman Furst ruled during a court hearing that Flagner was found competent to stand trial. The girls that Flagner molested in Texas all testified again in 1985, and Brandon was convicted of 2 counts of aggravated murder and also kidnapping and trafficking, aggravated trafficking. So this guy has been showing up a lot in connection with the missing Ohio man, I think Gelatondo, but it was strange. That guy who went missing and he ends up going into the river for no reason and then drowning in the river. Well, this guy has popped up a lot in connection to him. And so Brandon could also be seen as a suspect in that case. Brandon is, of course, at large right now because he was paroled out of prison very, very early before the other murders came back. Then they found that he had been guilty of more than, I think, 4 other murders in addition. So it's really a terrible, terrible situation and a very good history lesson for Ohio, for sure. And this was, of course, Brandon Flagner. Once again, he lived at Maddock Road. He was in North Ridgeville, Ohio. And when we go here, this is a strange location where Brandon Flagner allegedly lived. And he killed Tiffany. He killed all of these underage victims, from years back. Even male victims, female victims, everything, you name it. And here we see, of course, this is a wooded area. It's kind of a bizarre backwoods type of area, but it's directly on Brandon Flagner's property. So if we go back here and we kind of look into this area and just investigate it a little bit, which is what you're supposed to do, you want to always get ahead of these things. We see that this is a very, very kind of creepy park. Like nobody would want to go in there under normal circumstances. I mean, at least if you had a family. If you're alone and you just, you're coming off from the college, you're coming off from your local work, and you decide to go in there, as long as it's not at night, maybe. But anybody who would go in there any other time or would bring their family or anything else is just asking for real problems. We look at this is very suspicious. And Brandon Flagner apparently had a strange looking fishing kind of shack type setup on the back lot of the lake, right here at the backwoods area on his or near his property, directly by his property line, and that may well explain why a lot of these victims disappear. For sure, because you don't want to have anything like that. That's creepy as all get. I wouldn't see any reason to go into that park, to be honest. So, and then when we kind of examine this area, it just is bizarre. I mean, you know, all of the trees and everything in the wrong places. The fences are unmarked. The power lines are all unmarked. The houses don't even have an address except on the mailbox. So, yeah, Brandon Flagner lived in an area that just, we know now, he may be behind some of these Ohio missing people by far, especially the one that was found in the river. Interestingly enough, this location here in Ohio is not that far from Cuyahoga County, is not that far from Cochitone County, where the actual murder of the man who went missing took place. And of course, this is in fact Brandon Lee Flagner, as we know. That confirms it right there. So very disturbing. The victim had drowned. Apparently, he also has many criminal convictions. It's a wonder that he isn't right now, you know, in the federal pen somewhere, because the history of this guy is unbelievable. But he lived there in Ridgeville, Ohio, and we can see from the evidence, if we kind of follow it back, he's another shady character, because he also lived in Claresville, Ohio, with various P.O. boxes. He lived in Amherst, Ohio. He lived in Strongsville, Ohio, and he, of course, lived right here that I've been going over in Ridgeville, Ohio, on Maddock Road. So this is right here by Maddock Road. And so the victim who basically drowned in the river, he disappeared and went into, I think they call it Targasaki River or something, right there in Cochitone County. And when he went missing very near to this area. And so my feeling of that is Brandon Flagner popped up as many times as he did because he was probably involved in how the missing man ended up drowning. And certainly this area should be looked into. We all can see why. It's not it's not the place you even want to take your associate on a trip to go visit the gardens. It's very, very very unusual area. Nothing marked. All of the cars are unmarked. The vans are also unmarked. And Spectrum Communication was apparently taking care of all of his telecommunications for some strange, unexplained reason. And then they got the barn in back. So, definitely fascinating. Thank you. Make sure to get the word out there. And if you notice anything else about this kind of odd Ohio missing person case and how it ties into different things, be sure to let us know right away. Let's get this spread, get the knowledge out there far and wide. Thank you. Autopsy confirms the man died of official drowning. Coshocton, Ohio. The Coshocton County Sheriff's Office and Coshocton County Coroner confirmed that Douglas Verostko was identified and was taken out of the Tuscarawas River. He had been a Newark man who went missing on March 22nd, as they originally thought. Dale Metelko, age 67, was the missing man who was identified by coroner Douglas Verostko. He was last seen walking away from his vehicle along the railroad tracks near the intersection of US 36 and Township Road 509. A search party found Dale Metelko's body floating in the river on April 6th. Authorities believed it was Metelko once they confirmed and identified the ID. Verostko said that the Licking County Coroner's Office confirmed Metelko's identity via dental records and other updates as well. He said that the autopsy has determined drowning to be the cause of death, but no reported injuries. So this was suspicious because he just went missing and he ends up in the actual Ohio River. The Coshocton County Sheriff's Office was recognized by the Ohio Office of Criminal Justice Services for adopting and implementing state standards, always established on prior occasions by the Ohio Collaborative Community Police Advisories. Standards relate to the use of force, deadly force, and agency recruitment, as well as hiring. So this is an interesting case because they haven't seen anything go on in this area for a while. So this guy shows up in the river. It's very interesting. Thank you. So, and Brandon Flagner was just pretty bad. They had a lot that was spoken about him as far as all the different victims, including Tiffany Papish, and more than 435 girls, apparently. All underage, ironically enough, and some males as well, but he just had a real record. Little of his face is visible under a heavy growth of beard. How many young girls did I mess with, he says? I don't know, but I did it every single day. I picked them up at churches, playgrounds, malls, you name it. And I just talked to them and then do it. The man convicted of kidnapping and murdering Tiffany Papish 15 years ago smiles slightly. He is mulling an earlier admission to police and reporters that he molested more than 435 younger underage girls. He was convicted in 1981 of molesting 2 Texas girls and another victim as well. They speak about that if you go kind of check it out. And exposing himself, and was sentenced to 10 years in federal prison. Let's see. 435? That sounds about right. Cuyahoga County Prosecutor Carmen Marino, who got the murder and kidnapping conviction against Flagner and the disappearance of Tiffany Papish, says he didn't believe the confession. Guys like him love to brag. Flagner's estimate covers a period from 1978 to 1981. Most of the victims never reported the incidents, Flagner stated. He said many were neighbors, children of friends, or otherwise. Flagner says he's married 5 times and has 11 children. The child's mother beat him up and threw him out early on. He says he just wanted to tell her he loved her. He was arrested, convicted, and sentenced to 2 to 5 years for breaking and entering right afterward. He said that after his release in 1980, he molested even more. I think I was trying to recapture what I had with the others. It was almost an everyday thing at that point, so I just kept doing it. Back then, children were not taught to mistrust anyone, so it was easy to just take in these victims and just molest them and all the rest. So very interesting, and he's definitely been linked many times to this homicide of basically Del Tendo, or Meltendo, and it would make a lot of sense that Flagner was involved in that. So once again, thank you. Make sure to spread the word and, pass this forward and get this out there to as many eyes as possible. Because there are other missing person cases going on right now in the Ohio area with these Ohio rivers and similar things. It'll be good to get these cases out. Thank you. Continue to get the word out for certain, and let's make sure to help our missing persons. Coming right up, of course, is Daniel Robinson, and it's been very important to get this done. So I appreciate you guys, continuing to spread the word. Unlike a lot of other people, I won't be ice cold on the whole thing about Sherry Papini, for example. But we have more than 400 people who go missing right now, this current time, per day. And even if some of them mean well, there's no possible way to be able to get to them all. And so I always do what I'm supposed to do, leave the rest up to God, because there's a lot that goes on. And people like Daniel Robinson, I truly, faithfully believe right now that they are still out there and that they may be found alive as well. And so I just always encourage people to keep spreading the word, even if it's someone you're not as familiar with. Their family is missing a loved one. And that's what we all need to always truly remember, especially in some of the tougher times. So thank you.